can differentiate which weed is which by the smell, by seeing it. Memories. Very, very difficult. I had to leave my house. I had to go stay with my family, like where people are. Mine was even to the extent of I was doing ice.
I wasn't a drug addict. I was just, hooked on, just getting high on, weed, basically, right?
What's the difference?
My major problem was I didn't like talking to people.
You talk a lot.
I talk about the topic that people are talking about, but I don't talk about myself.
Your struggles.
I just realized that the things I said I couldn't do, I could actually get them done without the use of the substance. I was able to eat a meal properly before. I always thought that my ingestion of meals would be more, dependent on, taking drugs.
I can sit with people and they will pass it and I won't touch it because I worked out for it. Self-control. Rehab is worse. It's very bad.
I think that isolating 100% is worse. Yeah.
I've seen my friends go to rehab and come out worse.
It's just trying
Rehab
to
makes you feel that
yeah.
your family do not love you. That's why they came to dump you here.
Hello, my name is Victor Akan and I'd like to welcome you to yet again another episode of my Breath of Hope podcast. And in this episode, as always, I like to take things, a different route. Today, I have with me two amazing people who would have had to, gone through certain issues, in life and have become victors, in these various challenges. And very quickly, I'd like to introduce them. Meet Odunayo.
Hi.
Yeah, and then meet Daniel.
Hello, pleasure to meet you all.
All right, thank you very much. And so these two amazing people, we're talking about how, they went into one form of substance abuse or say drug addiction, for lack of a better term, and, would have, gone through these phases of recovery and would have become better for it, right? And very quickly, before I go on to introducing them, I would like to just give some very some one or two statistics about drug addiction. So it's very important to note that on an average, a child would most likely have experienced some sort of substance abuse, well, mainly alcohol. On an average, a child of 13 years would have had to experience that at least once, right? And then we can see how, this progresses, when they get into the university, and maybe due to peer pressure, they take this, a step higher. Some move into weed, some move into, other things like crack and things like that, right? And, we see this effect in two ways mainly. We see this effect in your ability to focus on being productive. We see this effect in your ability to, control your emotions. Now, by emotions, I mean not get into violent acts, right? And some very interesting statistics would prove this claim. So I think some people, right, I think these statistics or this sample was taken somewhere in the West, and they realized that out of every domestic violence, so if you had like 10 cases of domestic violence and you had to investigate the person that's the villain in this domestic violence case, are they drug users, right? One form of drug or another. A lot 8 out of 10 times they were tested positive for drug abuse, right? And also 50% of suicides, of people who commit suicide were always tested to have been open to drug abuse, right? Now when it comes to productivity, it was of course another study was carried out, and it was seen that 60% of the time when people were proved to be unproductive, in their office, it was usually as a not usually as a because of as a result of, but 6 out of 10 times, right? They would have been found to also be involved in say one form of drug abuse or the other, right? And so we can see that drug abuse, affects your ability to stay focused, to be productive, to achieve your life goals. We can see that drug abuse, increases your tendency to be violent towards certain acts, right? And very importantly, I'll just be asking them a couple of questions about their experiences, their journey, and how they were able to, go through this. And very quickly, my first question would be, of course, for them to introduce themselves, very quickly. If you could just summarize, Odunayo.
So, hi, my name is Odunayo. I come from a family of 7. I'm the only girl and I'm the last born. lost my dad as a teenager. I think when I was 12, I lost my dad. I grew up with a single mom. Basically, that's just it. I'm a woman that loves the Lord.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that very brief introduction. I actually lost my dad when I was 13, so I think I can relate a little. But maybe it affects genders differently, but just putting that out there.
Sure.
Daniel, how about you?
Okay, so I'm Daniel. I come from a family of 5 as well. I'm a designer and firm believer. I think that's about it as well.
Thank you so much. Very quickly, I have to go around again. How was your first experience with drugs? Like, how did you get into drugs?
So my story is actually very funny.
Okay.
Because I wasn't forced into doing drugs. I did it because I wanted to know how it felt like. Yes, that was just.
So you just woke up one morning and say,
No. You see, it depends on the friends you keep in uni.
Okay.
I had different group of friends in university. The one you used to read, the one you go for party with, and I just had these particular ones that and I was like, I want to know how they feel. I want to know how it feels, and that was just it.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Daniel, how about you?
Well, much like Odun's story, I think for me it was just mainly the idea of freedom. I had just entered school at the time, and freedom was a very important part of it for me. I had a bit of restriction because I had family also in that same school, but nonetheless, there was distance. So I took advantage of that distance, and I decided to dive into things that I would normally not.
Okay. Odun, I just want to ask, of course, feel free to if you're not comfortable, but can you shed a little bit of light, just how deep you went?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't go that deep per se. I didn't get to the level of when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I want to do is smoke igbo.
Okay.
No, I didn't get to that level. But I went to the level of when people are talking, I can talk. I can, the level I can relate, you will know that, yes, I can differentiate which weed is which by the smell, by seeing it. I can differentiate which is which. Yes, that's.
I was going to ask how about by taste. Do it taste different? But
it's the highness is different. The experience is different.
Okay.
There's one that makes you feel reserved. There's one that makes you observe people the way they are doing. It makes you more detailed to what's going on. And there's one that once you come for me, I'm coming for you. Don't try me. Don't play with me.
Okay.
That's just it.
Okay. Yeah. Daniel, care to share about how deep you went?
Well, I wouldn't say I went so deep, but I have a couple of experiences. I tried a few things, but not so deep, right? Okay. In context to what Odun said, right? I got to a stage where when I wake up in the morning, that's like, I just want to smoke, start my day with a blunt, And while that was what it was for me, I also did not, go so deep as to becoming a miscreant because of it, right? So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Odun, I think this question is for you. So I'm going to ask, what were some of the early signs that, or say, red flags, this first experiences that you had that made you realize that this thing is becoming too much?
There is no realization.
Okay.
That's just the simple truth. But there's no realization, but there is something called responsibility. What made me realize, I would just put it that way, is when I noticed that I have people looking up to me.
Okay.
And I cannot form my hand.
Okay.
And it would be somehow if I have a little nephew of mine saying they want to be like me. And I'll just be like, like me. Really. And I just realized that I really do not want that. I do not want my little nephews, cousins to see me as a smoker or someone they cannot look up to.
Okay.
That's just it.
Okay, cool. But did it, while, in your journey, did, it ever impact your abilities to, say, achieve your goals, positive or negatively?
Come to look at it.
Okay.
It has both sides.
Okay.
Depending on which you are on. So, there is Canadian Loud.
Okay.
And there is Ghana Loud.
Ghana.
And yes.
Okay.
And there is Loud. And there is Igbo.
Okay.
There's a difference. So once you take Igbo, you become a nuisance. You can't achieve anything that day.
Oh, okay.
You become restless. You just feel useless. You just want to just stay alone, sleep. Can't do anything. But once you take Ghana Loud, you can achieve. Yes, I'm telling you. Once you have it in your mind and you take it, you just be like, I will do this thing. And you will do it. But the thing is, you might not do it as well as you want to do it because you get tired on the way. So yes, it has positive and it has negative.
Okay. Okay, but you said there are some of them that makes you really focused. So can we say it's a good thing too?
But no, it's not. It's actually not a good thing because by the time you are done with one task, that's just it.
Okay.
You won't do the remaining again because you just get tired.
Okay. So it's like a boost, like an energy drink.
Yeah,
kind of,
it's like Monster.
Okay.
Once you drink it, that's just it.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think I'll go my next question. Okay, but I think you spoke about, in terms of helping you achieve your goals, but does it in any way impact did it in any way impact your relationships negatively? How you related with people?
Oof. I would not say yes and I would not say no because in school I was everybody's friend, but I didn't have friends. Mm-hmm. So I am not a friendship person. If you do not come and meet me, I have nothing to say to you, literally. So, well, it did because when I was on it, if you come and meet me and you want to ask for an advice, you have failed woefully because I would laugh. I'm not going to take anything serious.
Seriously, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes, I would laugh. I would laugh at you. It's making sense to me, but it's funny.
Okay.
So yes, he did. He made me, I won't say lose friends because I wasn't all about friendship back then. But it made people not see me for who I am.
You're
like,
supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think I had a couple of guys back then in school because we went to the same school, university, right? So we had a couple of guys that they are always laughing at everything, even serious matters. And
difficult to take people like that serious.
Yeah. And most of them were also, hooked on it, right? Yeah, but Osai, I wanted to ask. It's kind of similar to what I asked her before. Was there at any point where you realized that I think I need to be done with this? It's taking too much of a hold on me.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm putting a but because I only came to realize how much drugs had, influenced my life when I realized that my circle were not amounting to a lot of things. And as to that effect, and I wanted to pull away, all right? I wasn't particularly or happy as to the way things had been going around for a while, right? And I realized that in order for me to be able to get freed or, totally get rid of that particular lifestyle and that particular living a life without purpose, basically, I had to, distance myself from certain people and end certain friendships, right? So yes, I would say that it did impact to an extent. While, to be very honest, I've made some of the best friendships and relationships with people who I actually did, drugs with at the time. And some of them still spanning to today, even though I do not indulge in any of these things, but there's just a mutual respect between both parties, right? Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, so in summary, while on a short term, drugs gives you a certain level of fulfillment that you chase after. It could be observation, it could be happiness. On the long term, it kind of impacts your ability to put yourself together and
Okay, so let me say something as
I
regards what
disagree.
Odun
I'm
said,
asking.
right?
Okay.
So there's the part where she mentioned
Okay.
being able to fulfill tasks, and she also mentioned the type of weed and things that were available and how they also impact you. For me, I'd say that it also depends on your mindset as a person, right? If you are somebody who has no purpose at all, I used to have a roommate in school, then I'm not going to mention the year, just so people who I know do not call anybody else. But yeah, I had a roommate in school who just, spent his days doing nothing. So same person I'm talking about, right? He being on substance, he would definitely not amount to anything. So there's no amount of Canadian, Ghana, loud itself that will put that person on his scale to actually achieve anything.
Okay.
Do you understand?
But I do think that it affects people differently.
Yes.
Because I know two people, two very close friends, one of which is late. So for one of them, he would take it, right? He would take it. He would he will get high, misbehave normally, but when it's time to focus on what needs to be done, he shall put himself together. Maybe he might have performed better without it. I don't know. I can't speak that, but maybe. Right? But the second guy will take it. They're taking the same thing, but that guy will just become useless.
Yeah, that's
right?
that's
So
mindset.
the reaction is actually different
Yeah.
because some people will take it. Sorry for cutting you short. Some people will take it and still maintain a certain level of normalcy, like to an extent. They are quiet, they are reserved. Maybe all they are doing is observing, and taking everything in bit by bit. While some people will take it and they can't just sit still.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah. And in fact, this guy, when he got hooked, it was so bad because now the way the school was, they're very strict academically. So I think after our first year, they had to what was the word? Yeah, they had to pull him out from school. But his parents, funny enough, his parents did not know. Right. So this guy was collecting $6,000 to $7,000 every year, spending it lavishly. So final year when we're supposed to graduate, his parents are coming, okay, let me come and see my son. And they realize that this guy is not part of those graduating.
Just been a waste of time.
So eventually they had to bring the guy back to Nigeria. So I think that depression even made him he got sunk in deeper. So I don't know, because I'm not really familiar with the names, but I heard that he mixed one or two things together and had a cardiac arrest and died. Right. So I think I was chatting with his other friend, and the friend was like, yes, that we were cool and that it was very sad, right? But at the end of the day, from what he said that there's a way you do this thing with sense.
Yes.
There's a way you do it, right? And he did try for him, but he wasn't just able to help him out of it, right? I think that's very sad. So yeah, I think that was just trying to portray my point that it affects us differently.
Yeah,
Yes,
right?
it does.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I was going to ask next, if you could just give us, a brief summary of, how your life has been ever since you decided that you were not going to take this anymore.
Surprisingly, I'd say mine has got to be a miracle, to be honest.
Okay.
And I mean, looking back and reflecting, at certain things I knew when I was still doing drugs, and now that I am not doing drugs, and I need to also state this now. I wasn't a drug addict. I was just, hooked on, just getting high on, weed, basically, right?
What's the difference?
So the difference is some people delve into doing pills.
Okay.
Right. So there's that part of the whole addiction, and there's crack, there's ice. I mean, if you are lucky, you can even go as far as doing cocaine, right? Which is hardcore, right? So, but what I'm trying to, say basically is, for me, the experience when I was doing it, or the mindset I had was, I won't be able to do certain things without getting high.
Okay.
Hence me waking up in the morning and trying to start my day with said high. But after I had, pulled away from it, and when I say miracle, I mean that by spiritual intervention, it just happened to for me.
Okay.
Right? I just realized that the things I said I couldn't do, I could actually get them done without the use of the substance.
Okay.
I was able to eat a meal properly before. I always thought that my ingestion of meals would be more, dependent on, taking drugs. But I realized that that's a lie of the devil.
That's a great point. You see that point?
It's actually a lie from the pit of hell. You will be able to eat food like a normal person.
And it will show
exactly
when you're not doing it
it
anymore.
actually shows
it will show more
than
when you're smoking.
Then there's also the part of you, like Odun said, trying to complete tasks and just living a life of purpose, right? When you are doing the substance, you just while away time.
Okay.
For me, the reaction was whenever I just get high, if I have to do something and be 100% concentrated, I most likely will just be able to give it 30% max. But when I am not on the substance, I'm able to achieve a lot. Think properly, think straight, get stuff done, Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Odun, care to answer that question too?
Will I call mine a miracle? No. I won't call it a miracle because I worked hard for it. Yes, okay. I did. Because it was my choice to dive in.
Okay.
So I made it, like, I took it onto myself.
So let go.
That I would let go. And I know letting go is not, you just stop one day. You start reducing. If you take, if you roll up 6 blunts, maybe the next day you do 5. It's not easy, trust me, it's not.
Because it's the urge.
Then the next day, instead of doing less than 5, you just take 1. Like just 1. You might want to run mad when you are normal because you don't want to be here. This is not how you want to be feeling. You want to have something in you that is making you feel as if you're in between words, that's making you think outside of the box. But I did it in the sense that I can sit with people and they will pass it and I won't touch it. I've sat in a lot of gathering that people think I do not know how to smoke. Because I worked out for it. Self-control.
But do you feel the urge when the people are passing you?
No, waiting be your there. Everything just there. It's just normal. It's just, I just used to look at them that,
being here before, done that.
Being here, done that. So there's nothing odd about it. If I want to, I would. I would, because I know that I won't get hooked to it. I have that self-control. I know when to do it. I know when not to do it. And I choose not to. Okay. It's choice. Okay. So I don't feel any...
but what were there like specific processes or steps that you took to be able to get free from that urge?
Everybody's process is different. Trust me. Mine was very difficult. Memories. Very, very difficult. I had to leave my house.
Why your house?
I was alone in the house.
Okay.
I had to leave my house. I had to go stay with my family. Like, where people are. Because when I'm at home, I'm alone. I can do whatever I like. Mine was even to the extent of, I was doing ice.
Okay.
So ice is a substance. It looks like ice. It looks like very tiny ice, like this. Like crystal.
Yeah.
Is he ice this guy say he took that he walked from where I don't know to where I don't know?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Ice, you would not work. There's no energy for that.
Okay.
So when you crush it, you have to crush it. Then put aside fuel, then light, then a drag.
Okay.
Mine was even worse today. Instead, I make drags for my friends. I was that bad. Like, if you need a drag, they'll be like, I'm to do but go with your biro. Because I make drag out of biro. I can even use Capiso straw to do a drag.
Oh.
Yes.
She was pretty skilled.
I was. Yes. Yeah. So I had to stay where people were around me. Then I realized that my major problem was I didn't like talking to people.
You talk a lot.
I don't like talking to people. Trust me, I talk a lot when people are around. I talk about the topic that people are talking about. But I don't talk about myself.
Your struggles.
I don't talk about my struggles. So I realized that when I'm going through something, I just... I stay on my own. I've even got to the extent that I had to block my family members because I didn't... Okay, let me state this point. When you do drugs for depression, you will never feel loved, even though you are being loved.
Because you can't see it.
Because you can't see it. So I just realized that, I'm not getting loved. Yes, because I just feel when I smoke, I'm just on my own. I just want to be alone. So I realized that was my major problem. So I didn't realize I had the problem till I started smoking. I didn't. So when or when I'm high and I call a family member and they don't pick, it triggers a lot. I can just start crying and be like, oh, okay, now I realize why I have to smoke.
So is it, I'm sorry to chip in, but is it wrong to say that when you are on certain substances, right? Why there's this thought process that I have always had, which I believe to be true personally, and it's the fact that you always tilt towards the negative thoughts. Like it's a thing, like maybe you call, you need money, you need certain things, or no, let's forget the aspect of even needing.
You just want to talk.
Yeah, or you might just be in a state where you have to get something done and it's just the negative side of, I can't get this done. These are the challenges. I can't, because of these challenges, you don't even try to see if you can actually find another way to get this other thing
done. There's
no
motivation.
Exactly.
So when I realized that was my problem, I started talking to people. There was even one time, I cannot forget this day. I called my auntie and I started talking. Then my auntie started crying. She was shocked. She was like, you're talking to me? I said, yes. She said, are you sure? I said, yes. She said, you don't talk. I said, I know, but I'm talking. So it boils down to, that was when Anna started attending Seku Church. Then Anna started having friends that demand me to talk. They did. If I have to mention names, they did. They called, Odun, what's going on? Why? Even Victor, you two used to call me. Yes. So I don't know how to do it. I found it hard. I'm still finding it hard. But I just realized that if I didn't let go of that part, I would still be, I think I would have been far worse.
And you are today.
I would
have not stating that you're worse anyways.
I would have been far worse, if there's a word like that. So I had to accept, I think I had to accept my grief. I didn't cry when my father died. I held on to that. So I had so many things here that I couldn't let go. So my own number one biggest step was letting go.
Allowing yourself feel the emotions.
I just sat down one day after and I just started crying. Tears that were just there for years. When somebody would do something, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's fine. It's not. It's because I know that when I get something, I'll just go and smoke and be like, okay, it's fine. Every day,
so
everywhere just
using
soft.
The high to shield.
Everywhere just soft.
Yeah.
So I had to let go. After letting go, self-control, and that was it. Easier said than done. No,
I understand. So, summary, you retrieved, pulled yourself out of isolation, spent time with people, learned to be vulnerable, right? And so the last thing you just said now, and you let your emotions out.
Just let go.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, you tried though.
So sometimes the key to freedom and self-control is vulnerability.
If you don't have self-control, you can't be free.
Okay.
That's just it. Simple fact.
Yes,
if you don't have self-control, you can't. If you cannot say no, you are gone.
But I think you already answered it. I was going to ask the biggest challenge you had.
It was letting go. Yeah. It was hard. It was really hard.
But do you know why it was hard? It's just who you are.
It's just, okay. Family. It boils down to my background.
Okay.
My mother is an hard guy.
Okay.
So I looked up to my mom. I just felt if my mom could take care of how many children on her own, who am I? Who am I not to, chase that? So I didn't realize that. I didn't see the part of my mom crying at night on her own.
Yeah. So you just saw the
calling people. Yeah. I just saw my mom taking in. So that was the only thing. See, I used to vouch to myself that I will never be a workaholic like my mom. That was a joke. Then, and I started doing the things my mom was doing. And the difficult thing was I was liking it. So it boils down to family. I wanted to be so much like my mom that I couldn't see some of the flaws of that particular behavior. That was just it.
Amazing. Okay.
I also think that when you are around people who actually care for you and understand. So in certain cases, right, people who are close to you also have to understand what it is you're going through. right? Because if they don't, and you come from a background where they would always judge you, that plays a very important role in being able to abstain, right, from the substance. Because if you do not have people who can support you and say, okay, we know that you're going through this and we accept you going through this, like we just basically accept the whole like the whole thing, the baggage you are coming with, and we are willing to like help you walk through the process, right? I don't think there's ever going to be place for you to be able to abstain or let go of that substance, because you would always keep holding on to the fact that these people don't like me, right?
And what's the name of this thing? Sorry, rehab is worse. It's very bad.
I think that isolating 100% is worse. Yeah.
Forget it. Rehab.
So you don't think rehab makes people better?
I don't. It's not that I don't.
But did you ever try rehab?
I know. I've seen my friends go to rehab and come out worse.
But why do you think they came out worse? Is it because of rehab or because of lack of family support while they were in rehab? There could be a number of reasons.
There is no. You must not be in rehab until you have family support.
So rehab doesn't give you a sense of family support. It's
rehab
just trying to
makes you feel that your family do not love you. That's why they came to dump you here.
It's like you are forcing that change, basically. Do you get?
Now you understand.
It's 100% isolation.
But I think that's what they practice the most in the West. So are you trying to say it's not effective there? I don't know. I'm genuine.
I feel the only thing that is more effective is like old people home.
Old people?
Yes.
Why old people?
Because old people just want to be loved, and that's what they do there.
Okay.
No, I haven't personally been to rehab, so I can't really speak to it. But I'm saying that it's like you're trying to force something on somebody without allowing the person to go through the motions naturally.
I understand what you're saying.
Do you get? So it's like you
can't
say,
help the person
like
help themselves.
let that person accept first.
And
of
in
all.
rehab, we know that you are lying.
Okay.
Yes. When you are talking to like a therapist, I know I'm paying you to talk to me. I don't need somebody being paid because you are going to say what I want to hear. I do not want to hear that. I want you to look me into my eyes and tell me, are you okay? Look at yourself now.
The hard truth, yeah.
Daniel, I was going to ask, you said you were a firm believer when you were introducing yourself.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask if your faith had any role to play in your recovery journey. Or not necessarily, playing your recovery journey, but keep you from not,
going back into the life. Yeah. Yes, that's a very big yes for me, because so when I speak to the fact that I'm not doing drugs again, somebody might think that it's like maybe 5-7 years, but this year June will make it 2 years full on. And yes, my church had a very important part to play in that, because I recently just found my faith. Like I said, my stopping or my putting a hold to it was also by spiritual intervention. So God basically led me to where I would, after I had stopped, I would literally have people to surround myself with that would feel more like home and family. Basically having people, that had a different mindset. And I was used to hanging around people who were always calling you for the next available 10-15K to buy the least amount of loud, contribute for all those things. So it was different for me in a sense. And I've never been somebody who was so outspoken, except I'm with people who I really feel very comfortable around, right? And I've gotten some backlash as to that effect anyways, but nonetheless, I feel like my church, I know for a fact that my church did a very important work to that effect, because I am now amongst people who are driven by purpose. I'm now amongst people that want a different thing other than what I used to know, which has automatically changed my direction, And I would also say for the people out there, right, that maybe your story is not even in connection to how my story was, but I just feel like Odun said, you need to find yourself in a space that would help you stay away from this said addiction, right?
Okay, so sometimes the thing with addiction is, I think I read this somewhere. I don't know how true it is in all cases. That sometimes you need like coping mechanisms, or you need something to hinge on to while you are trying to. It's more like a substitution. Was there anything like that for you in your process?
Yes, that is very, very true. You will always need something to replace that feel, not the feeling, not feeling, no. So
that dependency.
Mine was, this is casting, this is serious casting.
You'll be fine.
Mine was Capri-Sun.
Capri-Sun. Are you serious?
Yes.
We are not doing brand endorsement.
Mine was Cafe Soul.
Okay.
My healing process that year, I used to buy at least 5 packs of Capri Sun in my room.
Are you kidding me? 5.
I'm not even joking. Orange flavor to be precise. If there's no orange flavor, I'm not drinking Capri Sun.
I mean, you did mention about made mention about your family. Is there anybody you'd like to give a special shout out to that was a close friend that also helped you actively in that recovery process?
No. In the sense, let me explain.
Okay.
My friends believed in me, so they knew I was going to stop. So they didn't do the whole, you can't do it. They just give me that space.
To give you that space.
Do your thing. Let's see. Because I'm someone that if you choke me, I let you go. I know, as I've said that statement, so many people, when they watch it, they will say, this girl, she's not lying. If you choke me, if I see you all up in my nose too much, maybe I'll ghost you. I'm better than the Holy Ghost. I ghost. So, yes. So I have nobody to say, oh, it's because of you I stopped. I would say thank you to my friends for giving me the space I needed to overcome it.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Were there cases where, you tell yourself, let me work on myself and let me stop this. But then after, it looks like maybe it's going like 20 days, 30 days, and then there's like a relapse even after.
That one a normal thing.
Okay.
It's really a normal thing.
Okay. But how did you navigate? There was ever a time you were discouraged. I'm like, am I still on this issue?
The fact that I have to be truthful. See, there was never a time I overcome it during my healing process.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Once I feel it, I might not take as much puff as I used to. Before, I can finish like 7 blunts. But I can just take like 2 puff and be like, okay, that's it. Just the feeling. And I'm fine. I never, now, everybody should be smoking it. If I don't want to, I won't. I don't want to see how you want to. Even though you use jazz, it will not work. But during my healing process, there's always I can't even count how many relapse, but the difference is not as much as I used to. Not even half of what I used to serve. In fact, not quarter. I can just take 2 puff and I'm fine.
How about you, Daniel?
Don't lie.
Or you just say, I know you do it again, Papa. Still disappear.
Well, I had the first experience.
Okay.
2018. I sort of stopped, and that was like the longest run I've ever had, and that was for like 8 months. I didn't touch it. I didn't do anything. But the minute I came back to Lagos, I don't know if this particular friend of mine would recall, but the minute I got back to Lagos, landed in Lagos, some weeks after I gave him a call, and Allah came to pick me up, and that was it. Now, I think the reason I didn't do it then was because I was in Port Harcourt at the time, and I was around family, and there was no space. It's like everybody was just in your face. You had to go to church. You had to do this. So there was no space to be able to indulge, right? And that I kept myself for 8 months has to still be God, right? Then I got back and I got a bit of freedom and I went straight in, right? But after that, this period for 2 years has been the most consistent I've been. And there's not been urge, nothing. I don't think I know that I'm free. Like, there's nothing to hold on to.
Odu, for you. Yeah. Of course, I'm happy that, you are a far better version of yourself now. I mean, you've put in the work, you've worked so hard. And, I mean, big kudos to you, right? But I want to ask, looking back, is there anything you wish you knew or you knew then that you know now that would have made you maybe beat it faster, maybe something you'd have done differently? Just random.
To be truthful, once again, no.
No.
Everything I believed and I know the way it should have happened
It's the way it happened for you.
It's the way it happened for me.
You have to go through a process.
I know if I didn't go through that process, if I had stopped smoking without opening up,
They're going back.
I know.
Okay.
I would have been a bad person.
How?
I would
How
not.
so?
I would. How will I explain it? If I just stopped smoking, I will not be opening up. I will still not be opening up.
Okay.
If you offend me, I'm someone that then, if you offend me, I don't need to explain to you. I would just, I'm not joking when I say ghosting. I would ghost you. And if you see me, I can do as if you never existed, as in we were never friends. Like, we never made ourselves laugh before. I'll just look at you and... So if I had not gone through those steps, I would have been worse than that. And I'm someone that before, if you offend me, I don't need to give you a second chance. I don't believe you deserve it. I'm not apologetic about it. I still believe like that, Sha. But it's different.
You don't believe in giving second chances?
I don't.
Are you serious?
Yes, but
do you believe in receiving second chances?
If you don't want to give me, it's actually fine.
But for you to still have your family means that they would have given you a second chance at one point in time.
For me to still have
your family members, you would have failed them at a point in time.
See, trust me.
I'm just asking.
Family.
Don't
let us go there.
Okay.
I've stopped talking to so many of my family members.
Okay.
So I believe I had not gone through that experience. I would not. There are so many friends that I would have left behind that has been a blessing to me right now.
Okay.
So I have no regrets. I'm happy that I went through what I went through. Because if I didn't go through it, I will not be here talking.
Okay.
So no regrets, nothing. Just
okay, but what advice would you give to someone who was in your shoes past you?
I would be lying if I say you should pray. Trust me, I would be lying. I'll be so cliche if I tell you, run to God. I'm not saying God is not everything, but God gave you a brain for something and common sense.
Okay.
You have to use it. So if anybody right now is going through what I have gone through, I just need you to do one thing. Just sit down, look at the weed, and look at yourself.
Tell yourself the truth.
If you know, you know. Just sit down the way I'm seated. Drop your crusher, everything right in front of you. Just sit down and look at it. And the first question and the only question you should ask yourself is, what will I amount to? Drop everything. Like when I mean everything you take, be it cocaine, be it crack, be it ice, be it loud, drop everything in front of you. Just like when I mean drop it, sit down, look at it. Do not be high in your normal sense, and look at yourself and be like, what will this thing amount for me? So many thoughts. In fact, that person can break down and start crying. That's just it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Daniel, how about you?
Honestly, mine may differ a lot, or would definitely differ a lot with what Odu has said, because that was just basically because of my experience, right? But I would say for sure that self-realization is very important to getting to where you ought to be. Because if you do not, ask yourself certain questions and boil down to the hard truth, you would not, be able to amount to anything. See, drugs, I mean, let's forget about the part of, or how do I say this now? Let's forget about other harmful things, like not being able to amount to a lot of things that it does to you, right? Let's look at the health implications it does. Like you also said it yourself, like you've lost somebody, like a friend of yours, as a result of drugs. So there are certain health implications that if you actually sit down, and now some people might say that, people still smoke cigarettes, but it's written on the pack, smokers are liable to die young, right? But let's be honest, when you are doing that thing, it's hard for you to actually come to a place of acceptance and telling yourself the truth. It's hard. Because as she's saying that, oh, you keep the drugs, and like, at some point do you come to actually being able to do that?
True.
It would take a whole lot from you as a person to be able to do that. But nonetheless, I'd say that if you have people who actually legit love you and they are praying for you, that would help you a long way. But at the same time, for my personal note, it would just be for you to actually, snap out. Like if you have an opportunity or you see a little means that you can actually see that this is not good for you. Maybe sometimes it might even be when you see that everybody that you most likely accompany, or people who accompany you in life, are going way ahead of you and you are just static. Because that's what drugs would do to you. Drugs would make you just be hopeless and you'll just be there.
Stagnant.
You don't amount to much. So if you can bring yourself to that point where you can actually accept that this is where I am and this is not where I'm supposed to be, that's fine. Like, that is great, all good. But then the aspect of your faith, God is still paramount, because I feel like as a human being, you can't be purposeful without God. You will not be able to. I mean, there's the idea of waking up every morning, being able to deliver your daily tasks, going to your 9 to 5. But I feel like true and genuine purpose, right, also comes from being able to, do the things of God, right? Yeah. Being able to fulfill as a person through God.
So can I say one thing?
Okay.
So as Daniel was talking about genuine love, so it's hard to come to a realization. That one, number one fact. Number two, I would want to add that anybody that is going through drug addiction should try and open up to someone. I don't know how to put this English. Someone that you are. I don't even know. Something that won't judge you.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you have to look at someone that won't judge you.
That's very hard to come by.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to come by, because someone that won't judge you, okay? But if you know deep down that there's this particular person that I know that if I sit this person down and I tell this person will judge me, please do.
All right. So in addition to what both of you guys said, I think, of course, to have any experience in this, there's someone I follow a lot, is a psychologist, Jordan Peterson. So he said something. He said sometimes, right, of course, not everybody has to go through this series of steps, but he said that sometimes so there is a why you went into an addiction, and then there is a why you are still in the addiction. And the why you are still in the addiction is, I think it's where you're talking about the self-actualization part, where you ask yourself, why am I still doing this, right? So before you tell yourself, I need to stop doing this, right, you must first of all ask yourself, why am I still doing this, right? So for some people, I think from what I could get from what you were saying, it was more about a way to keep yourself strong, to keep things in. Right. So a lot of times when you have eliminated the need for a thing, then you have eliminated the need for it itself. Right. So what that would mean is that letting go, having to learn to pour out yourself, having to, basically not putting yourself in an environment that basically enables you. Right. And then you are like miles away in terms of beating it. Right. And then I think in your own case, right, yours was, being surrounded by people, who you could call family, who you love, a church, and, things like that, right? Yeah. And in that, I think, I might be wrong, but I think it would have given you some sort of feeling of, love, acceptance, things like that. I might be wrong, but...
Okay, so funny facts is, like I said, I didn't really delve into the spiritual experience I had when I had to stop, right? It was just a whole... God spoke to me and told me that I shouldn't do this anymore. And if I did, I'm not going to live long enough for my parents to enjoy me.
So fear made you stop?
So it wasn't
love for your life.
Fear per se, right? Because I think I was at that point in my life where I honestly didn't care. Faith wasn't really anything to me, to be honest. I mean, I grew up in a Christian home and all of that, but it was not something I took seriously, right? But I at the moment that was said to me, right, there was a sort of like it's like I hit a wall and I've turned back and I'm like, okay, this is not what I want.
Okay.
Right. So I had to come back to like basically self-realization. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at the end of the day, ask yourself questions.
Let me also state, I'm sorry for cutting you, but let me also state that the minute I heard that and I was brought back to myself, I immediately went into my room, packed my stash, and threw everything, and that was the end.
And you never bought a new one?
Till today. Like, that's why I said, wow. In a way, it was like a miracle. Do you understand? So even the urges that I would normally get, I did not have to experience any of that.
Okay. I think
that's actually a miracle.
That's a miracle. It's rare.
Rare. It never happens. It's not as if it's rare.
Really,
it never happens.
Does happen, right?
Doesn't.
Okay, no problem. Thank you both for sharing your experiences. So thank you, Odu. I know because I think I brought this to you like last week, and it was short notice. I'm really sorry.
It's fine.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for staying this far with us. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more of my amazing episodes. Have a lovely day.
And please do not do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do it.
Thank you.
Don't do it.